says, close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires, all fears, all laziness, all doubt, anything in the center of your mind, in your 12 cranial nerves, in your consciousness, in your hands and your feet, in your 12 melanin centers, in your frontal lobe, within the center of your mind. It doesn't allow your mind to focus and to balance itself out. But we must remove all weights and all sin from our consciousness, from our mind, that we may be able to behold the one who sits in the highest Shamayim, above the Shamayim, above the 7 heavens, who sits above the firmament, the Rakia, the cosmos, above Satanal and his Malakhi, above every male and female, every king, every ruler on the earth, and in the center of the earth. The one who sits in the highest Shamayim, Yahuwah, with his Ben Yahusha, whom he sent to the earth to redeem man, not with corruptible things, but with his own life, with his own blood. For Yahuwah was in the Son, reconciling the world to himself. For in the world, in the beginning, he made Adam in his own image and own likeness. He gave him authority over the fish of the sea, the fowls, every creeping thing, and over all the earth. And man left his responsibility, and he put him in the garden. He went in the garden to shamar and observe the commandments in the garden. And by observing the commandments and guarding the commandments in the garden, allowed him to inherit gold, the Delhi. Allowed him to inherit a place of 4 rivers and 4 streams, in a place where he could name animals and creeping things and all the things, and allow him to acquire Yahuwah, his wisdom, that he may be able to govern and rule with all authority and dominion, with kindness, Ahal, joy, peace, patience, meekness, temperance, and moon, but in actuality, and also not clearing the guilty. But we look in a world full of wild animals and wild creatures and wild human beings, and we must walk in the newness of life, that you may be a light, a or, a ma'or gadol, a greater light and a lesser light in the earth, and a kukab in the earth. So as we move forward in this life, even this life, and even as we move forward into the next life, as some already have, we looked out to die in our sins. He said, Yahushua said, if you don't believe that I am he, you're going to die in your sins. You're going to die in your sins, and you're going to die in the person who you used to be. That seed, them seeds that were sown in you from a young age, will carry you to the grave. So we look at our life, and we look at our truth, we look at the truth of knowledge of Yahushua Mashiach. We look at all of the attributes of him, but also we look at the also severity of him. So we acknowledge this day the one who made all the heart of the earth, all in the heart of the earth, all the rivers and streams and the mountains, and every jacket inside of the mountain, before the earth even was. The one who gave the sea its commandment not to pass the sand. The one who allows and puts all consciousness and all creatures on the earth, whether in the sea, or in the Rakia, or in the higher, or in the Shamayims, and even in the human beings, inside of the cells and the cell membranes that make you and allow you to walk, in your 2 legs, and your 2 arms, and your 2 sides of your mind. So as we move forward in this light, in the order of the beginning, we do not yield ourselves over to our lower self, but we yield ourselves over to our higher self. Right? So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 73. Psalm 73. Psalm 73. Psalm 73 and Psalm 73 and 20, Psalm 73 and 1. Psalm 73 and 1. And it says, truly, Yahuwah Elohim is good to Yasharal, to those who are a pure heart. Or if we talk about tahor or tahar, mind, a pure heart. That means purifying your thoughts and your mind. It's like, I'm good to people who have a pure heart, who have a clean mind, a clean heart. Dawud said in Tahalim 51, he said, created me, Barab Alay, Tahar Lay, or Labab. What he said? Created me a clean heart. Kadashar Balay Hayashar Ruach. Created me a clean heart, renewing me the right Ruach. Because there's a lot of different spirits out here. He said, what type of spirit does Yahuwah have? What type of spirit does he have? Right, this verse 2 says, but as for me, my feet had almost stumbled, my steps had nearly slipped. He's saying, man, almost. Right, you know how people say, you ever been in that almost moment in your life? He said, I almost slipped. That's like walking on a cliff on a mountain. And if you ever walked on a mountain and hiked the mountain, there are steep sides where you could almost fall off and literally you can break your leg, break your arm, break your neck. He said, I almost fell off the side. He's like, man, I almost did. my foot almost well slipped, for I was envious of the arrogant, right? I was envious of the arrogant human beings, both male and female. And you know, arrogant human beings have a little bit more, like I said, they for some reason, they seem to be able to prosper and then things start happening for them. He said, for the arrogance, and we know Yahuwah hates arrogance. He said, I was envious of the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. He said, man, I saw the prosperity of the wicked. He's like, man, I seen what they were getting. I seen how high they were up. I seen how great they are. I seen how much knowledge they got. I seen how they look. They said, man, they prospering. And they big time. Guess what he said? For they have no pangs unto death, and their bodies are fat and sleep. Right? He's like, man, look at their bodies. Look at their body type. He's like, I almost did it. He says, they are not in trouble as others are. They say, they ain't in trouble like everybody else. He said, we in trouble, we do that type stuff. We arrogant, right? We get wicked and envious. We got all the envious and all that. We getting arrogant and all that. We start doing that, we get in trouble for it. He's like, man, they don't even get in trouble for it. They don't even get in trouble for it. And it says, and their bodies are fat and sleep. He said, they eat a lot. And they got plenty of food. He's like, man, they eat a lot of food. He said, guess what it says? They are not in trouble as others, and they are not stricken like the rest of mankind. He said, how come everybody else in mankind? He's like, man, everybody else in mankind. He said, these people don't, for some reason, man, I'm gonna slip. Because they was a king. That was a king. And he had a lot of stuff. He's like, man, they not in trouble like everybody else. Right? They ain't get in trouble like me, man. When I did what I did, when David sinned, he got in a lot of trouble. He's like, they ain't getting in trouble like us. But he said right here, therefore pride in their necklace, violence covers their garment, covers as a garment. He said, why would he say that? Their eyes swell out through fatness, and their hearts overflows with follies. He's like, just like it was in the beginning. He said, when Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, Yahuwah was grieved that he even made man on the earth. Matter of fact, he said the whole earth was filled with violence because of them. Because of all they sinned, because of all the follies of the kings, rulers, princes, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, male, female, all the way down to the youngest child. He's like, man, you got some rich children in the world too. And it says, they scoff and speak with malice. You know what scoff is? He said they run their mouth, they scoff. He said, oh fools, how long will you scoff? He said, they mouth that. Right? He says what? They speak with malice, right? Because they didn't clean the farming. You know how in the beginning he made Adam to farm, to plant seed. He said, Satan said in the book of Issachar, he said in Testament of Issachar, he said men are going to leave, he said the fear of Yahuwah, he said they're going to leave all farming including malice. That's hatred. He said hatred and slander, right? Malicious slander, malicious words. Lofty, they threaten oppression. They set their mouths against the heavens, and their tongues struck through the earth. He said he said their tongues struck through the earth. They say a lot of things against Yahuwah and the bar in his word. So therefore their tongue is like skipping like a rock on the top of the surface of the water when you skip it on top of the water. He said the ruach moved in front of the face of the water. He just skipped the little rock on top of the water. They just start throwing stones. And it just skips on top of the water. Right? But it says right here, and their tongue struck in the earth. Therefore, his people turn back to them and find no fault in them. He's like, Yahuwah's people, they do. They go back to these people. He said they follow these people. They love these people. And guess what happens? He was like, and they go after them. And they don't even find no fault in them. Because in their mind, they don't have any. Because they do the same things they do. Because they are, what? Full of follies too. And they scoff. So therefore they go back to these same people who have follies and scoff and malice. And they don't even, they go hang and they go be with them, and guess what? They don't even find no fault. They just like, man, look at that. But here we go. And they say, how can Yahuwah know? Is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, they are wicked, are always at ease. They increase in riches. He's like, man, they wicked and they increasing in riches. He said, if you wicked and you increasing in riches, he's like, and you always at ease? He said, how can you be at ease in a world like this? He said, look at this world. Look how this world is. Skipping down the street. There's no way. And it says, all in vain have I kept my heart clean and washed my hands in innocence. For all the day long, I have been stricken and rebuked every morning. He's like every single morning, because you know what he's supposed to do in the morning. He said, you got an offering to offer in the morning. You got a morning sacrifice. He's like, and you know what happens in the morning time, right? This is, go to verse 25. Verse 23. It says, same book. Nevertheless, I am continually with you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel. Wait, why is Yahuwah guiding him with his counsel? Why is Yahuwah holding him by the hand? Because he is a child. And why is he guiding him with his counsel? He said, I get rebuked every single morning. Why? He said, I almost slipped. But had I got a rebuke in the morning, I probably would have. He said, he grabs my hand, he holds my right hand, you guide me with your counsel. Verse 24, and afterwards, you will receive me to your kabod. That's the only reason he's doing it. He only rebuking, just like we talked about in Proverbs chapter 1. He said, I'm only rebuking you because I want to pour my ruach on you. I want to reveal my words to you. I'm trying to hide you, stop you from your purpose. That's the only reason he's doing it. So that I can receive you to kabod, to glory. Right? Get what he says, verse 25. Whom have I in Shamash but you? I ain't got nobody else. Who gonna do that for me? He said, I ain't got nobody else who gonna do that for me. Whom have I in Shamash but you? Who rebukes me in the morning and keeps my feet from slipping? Who holds me by my right hand? And who guides me with his counsel? He said, who am I? Who have I got? Who I got? I ain't got nobody else to do that for me. He says, and there is nothing on earth that I desire besides you. He said, I ain't got nothing on earth. Nothing on earth that I desire but you. Nothing. Right, this is Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. 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 It says, if you then have been raised with Mashiach Yahusha, seek the things that are above, where Mashiach Yahusha is seated at the right hand of Yahuwah. He's like, whom have I in Shamaim but you? I ain't got nobody else. Who gonna do that? I ain't got nobody else gonna do that for me. Set your minds on things that are above and not on things on the earth. Man, ain't nothing on the earth that I desire but you. Ain't nothing on earth that can make me slip and not get, you gonna give me my rebuke in the morning, right? You gonna stop me from my foot slipping in the morning, right? Matter of fact, you finna help me out, right? He's like, yeah. Man, who have I in Shamash but you? I ain't got nobody else. Matter of fact, you're the best friend I ever had. You gonna stop me from going off the cliff? He's like, yeah. You're the best friend I ever had. Right? And he says, for you have died, and your life is hidden in Mashiach, in Yahuwah. When Mashiach, who is your life, appears, you will also appear with him in glory. He's like, who am I in Shamash but you? I ain't got nobody else. He said, you're going to appear with him in glory. He said, that's the only reason I'm doing it. That's why I'm guiding you by the right hand. That's why I'm counseling you and I'm rebuking you so you can appear with me in kabod. I ain't got nobody else to do that. Only Yahushua Mashiach can do that for me. Only Yahuwah sitting in the bar can do that for me. Right? I can't do that for myself. Right? It says, put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, because nothing on the earth I desire but you. Sexual morality, that's adultery and fornication. That's nothing on the earth I desire but you. Impurity. Because we talk about, he said, Yahuwah is good to them with a pure heart. Passions, evil desires, covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these, the wrath of Yahuwah is coming. And these you too once walked, while you were living in them. But now you must put them all away. Anger, I have nothing on the earth I desire but you. Wrath, I have nothing on earth that I desire but you. Malice, oh, isn't that one of the things that he said they leave me for? And they don't even find no fault. These people, they'll go after these people. And he said they don't even find no fault in them. He's like, baby, I'll quote his Twitter posts. I'll quote his Instagram posts, right? And he'd be like, man, what are you doing? Y'all go after these people. Who's the person that's gonna rebuke you in the morning sacrifice, when you pray, when you give your confession, when you sing your prayers? Who the one gonna help you? These people ain't gonna help you. He says, but now we must put them all away. Anger, wrath, malice, slander, Because they cleave the malice, and now they start malicious words and obscene talk from your mouth. I have nothing on earth I desire but you. Nothing. And it says, do not lie one to another, seeing that you have put off the old self with its practices and have put on the new self. He's like, I almost did it though. I was real close, on the edge. And he says what? And have put on the new self, which is being renewed in the knowledge of the image of his creator. Man, he rebuked me every morning. Every single morning he caught me. He's like, why he troubled me. He said, man, I'll rebuke you every morning. He said, why? Because you almost sinned. Right, so this is the book of Proverbs, Shaly'shy, Proverbs chapter 1. Shaly'shy, Proverbs. Shaly'shy, Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. It says, the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of knowledge. Because we ain't no one greater, as Hanuk wrote, Enoch wrote. Ain't no one greater than the fear of Yahuwah. He said that's the beginning of knowledge. For fools despise wisdom and instruction. And he already know what he doing. I'm giving you wisdom and counsel in the morning time. I'm rebuking your behind. He said, you despise it, you're going to slip off the cliff. I'm trying to stop you. And it says, hear my son or daughter, your father's instructions, and forsake not your mother's teachings. He said, why would he do that? Because a father and a mother in a home is a functioning home. But when you don't have that, you have a dysfunctional. Because some people say, I don't know about that. He says, dysfunctionality is a norm for people. Malice. Going after people who are wicked and have money. And they doing all evil. He's like, people who have dysfunctional homes do that. That's why he said, I rebuke you in the morning. Make sure you don't go after these people. Make sure you don't follow these people. Make sure you don't follow their steps. Make sure you don't go after what they do. And make sure you don't hang around and be like, I don't find no fault in them. Because you should. Because if you don't, you're around them, you don't find no fault. Guess what happens? You're going to end up doing the same thing they do. And he says, my son, oh daughter, your father, he says, hear my son, your father's instructions, and forsake not your mother's teaching. For they are a graceful garland for your head, and pendants for your neck. My son and daughter, if sinners entice you, do not consent. He said, don't give them permission. Don't give yourself permission. I'm not going to give myself permission to do what you do. That's too much. That's too much. I can't do that. I'm giving myself permission to do that. My parents already told me not to do that. My mother and father in the Aydahchay already told me not to do that. So therefore, my parents are upset if I do that. He said, do not consent to it. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood, let us ambush the innocent without a reason, like Sheol, let us swallow them alive, and whole, like those who go down to the pit, we shall find all precious goods, we shall fill our houses with plunder, throw in your lot among us, and we will be as one, have one purse. We talked about a car a couple of days ago. He said, we have one purse, man. We put all our money together. Man, we have one purse. One little carrying case. Right? You see all these different hieroglyphs, or all these gods, different gods, and they all have you see a purse in their hand. And they all carrying it with them. And you see them all carrying it in their right hand. And you see them carrying it. You see them, man, he in the spaceship. You see that purse he got in his hand? Oh, he over here on the pyramid. You see all these purse they got in their hand? You see this person over here, he got a purse in his hand. You'd be like, why they all have a purse? And he said, well, all the guys now joining together and making one purse. Why all these other guys joining together making one purse? They all had that purse. That purse been here a long time. Those purses been here a long time. I used to see them carry a carrying case with some money in it. No, we're talking about people putting all their resources together to do what? To go commit evil, right? Rob, right? And it says what? It says, we shall find precious goods, and we shall fill our houses with plunder. Throw in your lot among us, and we shall have one purse. No, I can't consent to that. Take my name off. Don't put my name with that. He said, don't put my name, no, don't put Yahuwah's name with that. Don't put Yahusha's name with that. He said, who am I in Shamayim but you? I I ain't got nobody else. Who am I going to do that? I'm going to put that with your stuff? No, I can't do that. And he says right here, my son, do not walk in their way with them. Hold back your foot from their paths. He's like, hey, my son and daughter, hold back your foot from their path. It says, for their feet run to evil. They run to adultery, fornication, lying. They run into slander. All the things, the earthly things you got to destroy, that's what they're going to do. Drinking, getting drunk, high, all the stuff that you're supposed to do, not do, they doing it. Going to a club, right? They ain't going to no river and stream. They ain't going like Daniel and go pray. They ain't doing none of that stuff. They ain't going on mountaintop, right? Go pray to you. They ain't going to do none of this stuff. They ain't going to take care of no animals and no creatures of the earth. They ain't going to sow no good seed. People, they're going to do something totally different. They're not exercising their body, their mind in their body. They're not trying to focus on reaching that higher nature and staying in that higher mind. They're not doing that. They're running evil, and they make haste to shed blood. What do you think is going to happen? Why do you think all these people get killed out here? Why do you think all these people get shot? Why do you think all these people get stabbed? Why do you think all these people get kidnapped? Why do you think all these people are losing their absolute mind? Because they cleave to these things. They go get their check. They only make $45,000 a year. Then they got to pay what, $3,000, what, $1,900 of rent. Then they got to pay light bill, water bill, and everything else. And then what do? They take the little rest of money they got, and guess what they do? They go run to evil with it. That's a work. And people say that's a great life. That's a wonderful life. That's a wonderful life. That's not a wonderful life. You broke. You've already spent all your money just to live, and then you only got like maybe $400 left, and then you're going to go what? Go use that and do some evil? And then you wonder why you're in poverty. You say you wonder why you're down in the dirt with the demons even lower than you. That's why, because those are the parts of other people's lives that people need to hold to. Because that's what they got. I'm going to spend my last dime on that. Yahusha saw the woman put her last little 2 pence in the offering. He said, man, she put more than there. He said, why she put that in there? She gave her little shekel for the temple, to take care of the temple, not for the scribes and the Pharisees to go spend it for their own little wages, for their own little wicked lives in the temple and the chief priests. No, she put in there to take care of the temple. She said that little bit of money she put in there, she put more than all them people who had abundance. But not today. They take the money, you know what they do? They go do evil with it. It's like, man, they gonna go do evil with it? And then next you know, they going to shoot people to go rob them. After they ran out of money to do some evil. They gonna get the money, that they use the money, they use that rest of that money, they gonna do evil, and then they're gonna take the rest of the little bit of money they got left. Then they're gonna start robbing, buy a gun, and go rob somebody else and then shoot them, innocent people, so they can have more money to do evil. Right? And he says, for in vain do they, it says, in vain, verse 17, for in vain is a net spread in the sight of any bird. But these men lie in wait for their own blood, men and women. They set an ambush for their own lives. He said, when you set an ambush for your own life. He said, so you telling me ain't nobody coming at you for righteousness? No, these demons coming at you. You literally making your ambushment of demons around you. You literally calling all spirits, hey, it's me. It's all me. Look at me. You literally calling them to you. It says, such are the ways of everyone who is greedy or unjust gain. Why? Because they're doing all violence and all evil to get. Look at the world today. I'm gonna blow your city up. I'm gonna blow your country up because I want your land to put some new houses on it. Matter of fact, I want to put a skyline with some nice condominium buildings, some townhomes on the beach. So I just blow you up. It says it takes away the life of its possession. So people want to know, oh, you setting yourself up. You say, we're getting ambushed, we're getting attacked. You did that. No matter who you are, man, woman, child, country, ruler, teacher, evangelist, pastor, leader of a country, it doesn't matter. He says that you are the reason of your ambushment. It has nothing to do with nobody else. You're the reason. You can't get mad when people come attack you after you attack them and do stuff. When Yahuwah sends demons, his spirits after you, there's nothing you can do. What you gonna do? Turn him back? You can't turn him back. There's no way. You can't turn him back. Once he starts to execute judgment, right? There's nothing you can do about it. Right? There's nothing you can do about it. Right? So this is the book of skipping down. Right? This book of Proverbs chapter 19. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 1. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 1. Mostly Proverbs chapter 19, verse 1. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 1. Verse 19 says, better is the poor person who walks in his integrity than one who is crooked in speech and is a fool. He said, a stupid person. He said, you'd rather be poor and you walk in your integrity and not do none of those earthly things. Not do none of those things that do evil to shed innocent blood. It's better if you walk poor and not do it than to do it. He said, it's better. He said, better is a poor person who does that. He said, a fool desire. It says, verse 2 says, desire without knowledge is not good. How you say, da'at, binah, hukmah. Without knowledge is good. It's not good. For whoever makes haste with his feet misses his way. He said, you missed it. That would say, my foot almost slipped. When I saw the prosperity of the wicked, I almost slipped now. But guess what? I had knowledge though, because I got rebuked every single morning. And guess what happened? I didn't miss it. I ain't missed my way though. I knew the way I need to walk. I didn't miss it. Now this is English now, of course. Verse 4 says, when a man's folly brings his way to ruin, his heart rages against Yahuwah. That's what happens. We talked about all that folly that those people had. It almost caused David to slip. He said they pleaded malice and they had all types of follies and nobody found no fault. And then guess what happens? And when a man's folly brings his way to ruin, his heart rages against Yahuwah. And guess what people start doing? They start leaving Yahuwah. Like he said, they leave me for them. He said, how you going to leave me for them? And guess what happened? Then they start raging against Yahuwah. Who is Yahuwah that I should obey? I ain't following you. And people wonder why their children or their household or anybody, anybody said, why are they rebelling? Because it's like, because their folly bringing them low. He said, all your stuff wrongdoing you're doing. And he says, wealth brings many new friends. Right, you see them on Instagram, Twitter, they bring a lot of friends. They be posting about it, boasting about it. Got all the different women and all that, and people have no fault in them. They just be like, yeah, look at them. I want to be just like them. I want to be just like them. And guess what it says? And it says he brings new friends, but a poor man is deserted by his friends. He said they deserted. Don't nobody want to be around a poor person. They all deserted him. He said, why would you want to be around me? He said, verse 5 says, a false witness will not go unpunished, and who breathes out lies will not escape. Verse 6 says, many seek the favor of a generous man. Ooh, man, he real generous with, man. Ooh, I want to be your friend. When you go to other countries, it doesn't matter what country it is, you pull out some money. My friend, right? They go to, anything you need, my friend. We are best friends forever, right? Everybody your friend. They're going to say they're your friend. My friend, right? That's my friend right there. But a poor man is deserted by a friend. A false witness will not go unpunished, right? Verse 6 says, many seek the favor of a generous man, and everyone is a friend to a man who gives gifts. Are we sure? Every man is a friend to a man who gives gifts? He said, I give gifts, right? It says all a poor man's brother hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursues them with his word, but does not have them. Right, so this is Matthew chapter 8, verse 18. 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 It says, now when Yahushua saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to go to the other side. because there's a whole bunch of people around him. And the scribes came up and said to him, teacher. He say, more, teacher, right? Somebody who can instruct. I will follow you, right? Wherever you go. He's like, you gonna follow me wherever I go? He said, Yahushua said to him, foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the son of Adam has nowhere to lay his head. He's like, man, I'm a poor man. I ain't got nowhere to go. You know, people defy the poor. He said, many are friends with a generous man. Everybody want to be friends with a generous man who give gifts. He said, with a poor man, nobody want to be around a poor man. David like, man, my foot almost slipped, boy. It almost slipped. But I was rebuked in the morning. Yeah, I almost slipped though. Because remember, he said they're going to leave. You know what happens? He said, when you see all these people, he said, they find no fault, and they go right after him. As a matter of fact, they start raging against Yahuwah too. And when all their folly bring him to the ground. As a matter of fact, he said, they'll leave me for them. He said, better is the poor who walks into integrity than a rich man who's a fool. And he says, and Yahushua said to him, foxes have holes, the birds of the air have nests, and the son of Adam has nowhere to lay his head. Another disciple said to him, Master, let me go first and bury my father. Who have I in Shamayim but you? He said, for nothing on the earth, I don't desire nothing on the earth. Who have I in Shamayim but you? He said, suffer me to go bury my father. And he said to him, follow me, and leave the dead to bury the dead. Who have I in Shamayim but you? Who gonna do this for me? Who gonna rebuke me like that? Who gonna do that for me? He said, I'm alive and I'm in your face. Who have I in Shamayim but you? Because Yahushua literally here. And he said, I ain't got nobody else to do that for me. And he rebuking this scribe right in his face. Because you know why he rebuking him? Right, this is the book of Psalms 19. Psalms 19 and 1. Psalms 19 and 1. It says, the heavens declare the glory, kabod of Yahuwah, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Day to day he pours out a speech, and night to night he reveals his knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words where voice is not heard. Their voice goes through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them he has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. What does he think he's doing? He's like, man, let the dead bury the dead. He said, let them, and you follow me. He said, follow me. He said, in the morning time, he rebuked me. He said he left his bride chamber. He said, I leave my bride chamber. He leaves his chamber. Like a strong man runs this course with joy. He's like, man, what are you doing? He said, fox that hole, bird there at net. I ain't got nowhere to lay my head. I ain't got nowhere to lay my head. And get what it says. It's rising from the ends of Shamayim and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. He's like, there's nothing hidden from heat. Who have I in Shamayim but you? I ain't got nobody else. Yahuwah. He said, Yahushua, who do that? Only you. Who gonna do that? Verse 7 says, the law, the Torah of Yahuwah is perfect. Verse 7, reviving the soul. He said, who have I in Shamayim but you? I ain't got nobody else. I get rebuked every morning. Just like the sunrise. You see how the sun rises at the sixth portal, out of the portal? And guess what happened? He said, Yahushua should rebuke me every morning. He's like, man, look at here. I almost slipped though. And it says, the law of Yahuwah is perfect, reviving the soul. The testimony of Yahuwah is sure, making wise the simple. He said, we talked about simplicity, the simple-hearted, the pati, the open-minded people. To go commit sin, who gonna fall after these people who do all those things and find no fault in them, and you leave Yahuwah for that? He say for that, you know how a woman say, you gonna leave me, you gonna go be with that, right? Or a man, he be like, man, you left me for that man, you left me for all those other men, man. I've been over here, man. I've been faithful to you since the day you met me, like Yahushua say. I've been faithful to you since the day you met me, and you gonna leave me go be with that? It says, the precepts of Yahuwah are right and rejoicing in the heart. The commandment of Yahuwah is pure, enlightening the eyes. Why? Because remember we talked about he gave a speaking ruach to Adam to enlighten the eyes and give hearing to the ears. Because he's just like the sun. And guess what it says? The fear of Yahuwah is clean, enduring forever. The rules of Yahuwah are true and righteous altogether. Who have I in Shamayim but you? So why do you think Yahushua was saying that to them? When the scribe came up to him, asking him questions. I'll follow you wherever you go. He's like, I got nowhere to lay my hand on a poor man. Who have I in Shamayim but you? He said, let the dead go bury the dead and you follow me. You sure? He said, you sure about that? And it says, and get what he says. More to be desired than any gold, even much fine gold. Who have I in Shamayim but you? There's nothing I desire on the earth but you. Sweeter than, also than the honey dripping from the honeycomb. Asking all ate the honeycomb, what she do? He's like, man, that thing was sweet in her mouth, and the bees can't eat from her mouth. Matter of fact, the man took that honeycomb and he broke it out and put it right back together. He's like, man, it's sweeter than the honeycomb. He said, such is wisdom to your soul. It says, moreover, by them is your servant warned. Every morning, David said, man, he rebuked me every morning. Who have I Shamayim with you? Man, I almost slipped too. He said, but moreover, your servant be warned. In keeping them is a great reward. All right, so going back to that Matthew chapter 8, verse 21. Matthew chapter 8, verse 21. He said, another disciple said to him, Master, let me go first to bury my father. And Yahushua said to him, follow me and leave the dead to bury the dead, his own dead. And when he got into the boat, his disciples, his Talmids, his scholars followed him. His scholars. He said, and behold, there arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was being swamped by the waves. But he was asleep. And they went and woke him, saying, save us, Master, we are perishing. And he said to them, why are you afraid? O you of little amun. Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And it says, and the men marveled, saying, what sort of man is this that even the winds and the sea obey him? He's like, man, what kind of man is this? But in actuality, when you start looking at when David said, who am I in Shamayim with you? You rebuke me every morning. Who gonna do this for me? Who's gonna do that for me? Who's gonna do that for me? This is Yeshayahu chapter 57. Yeshayahu 57:16. Yeshayahu 57:16. She said, for I will not contend forever, nor will I always be angry. For the Ruach would grow faint before me, and breath of life that I made. He said, I can't stay angry all the time. He said, these things you must put away. You get what he said? Because of the iniquity of his unjust gain, I was angry. People say, why when he break you down from your folly and take away your unjust gain? He said, why? Because such are they who agree your unjust gain. He said, I'm going to take you down. He said, why would he do that? He said, I'm going to take you down. I struck him, I hit my face and was angry. He struck you. He's talking about he hit me? He says, but he went on backsliding in his way in his own heart. He still kept going. He said, I struck him. Right? He said, I hit him. He said, he hit him. Right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22. Right, he said, make them wise and simple. He's like, you simple heart, you pati. Right, tukah, I'm trying to tukah. He's like, nah. Verse 121, 122. How long, O simple ones, will you love to being simple? How long, you scoffers? You delight in scoffing. He said, you delight in mouthing at my rebuke in the morning time. Because I'm going to work the work while it's day. The fool hates knowledge. Man, he hates the. If you turn at my reproof, he hit me. Behold, I will pour out my ruach on you, and I will make my words known to you, because I have called and you refuse to listen. And I have stretched out my hand, and I have stretched out my hand, my kaf, my yad, and no one has heeded. You ever had it? And then it smacked you in the face. Because you ignored all my counsel. That's all he's doing. He said, who's going to counsel me? Who am I going to Shamash with you? Who's going to rebuke me in the morning time? Who's going to take me by the hand and counsel me? That's what David said. Who's going to do that? David said. He says, and would have none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your terror strikes you, when I take you down. When your terror strikes you as a storm and calamity comes to you like a whirlwind. When they on the ship like a whirlwind? When the storm's raging? When the storm's raging and the sea turning? He said, man, oh, how come y'all scared? Oh, how come y'all supposed to be scholars, Talmud, disciples? He said, how are you afraid, O ye of little Amunah? Why do you doubt? You got little Amunah. He said, how are you doubting all this? And guess what he did? He rebuked the winds and the waves. Oh, you mean he rebuked? He spoke to the winds and the waves. And he said, shoot. And they became a great calm. He said, how are you able to calm all those beings at one time? He said, Shalom, Akim, Malakim, Ma'im, Ru. He said, how are you able to calm the sea and the winds and the waves? How are you able to calm somebody's mind? Just by the words he spoke. And guess what he said? He said, well, so you seeing the destruction coming because of what? Because you can't take my tukah. And then he says, when your terror strikes you like a storm and calamity comes like a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, then you will call upon me. Didn't they call him on the ship? Master, master, master. You don't care that we perishing? You think Yahuwah don't care? People think Yahuwah don't, y'all know, he's an uncaring person when he sees people in trouble. Why did he help them when they was in trouble? Why did he help them when they was on the ship? Why did he get up out of his sleep and help them? Because he was just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber in the morning time, because he was sleeping. And he helped them right there on the ship. Why did he do that for them? People say, I know Yahushua. Are you sure? He said, search the scriptures, and you think you have eternal life. They talking about me. It's testifying about me. He says, when distress and anguish come upon you, when they call upon me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but they will not find me. They were able to find him on the ship. They were able to find him. Why? Because they were still with him. They slipped. Matter of fact, they didn't go off and go be with those people who do all those folly and didn't find no fault. They weren't with the scribes and the Pharisees. How can they hang around the chief priests and the scribes and the Pharisees in the tribe of Louis and Levi? How can the scribe want to go follow Yahushua? Because they already knew who he was. Who am I in Shamash but you? They're like, man, who am I in Shamash but you? I gotta follow you. But he says right here, and they will seek me diligently, but they will not find me. Because they hated knowledge. That's why. I don't want to know. They hated da'ah and did not choose the fear of Yahuwah, and would not none of my counsels, and despised all my tukah. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their own way, and have their fill of their own devices. That's why you think Yahushua said, why are you afraid? You've been heeding my tukah, my reproof. You've been taking my counsel. So why you ain't got no amunah? Why you afraid? Why are you fearful on the inside? They were fearful of death. But he said right here, right, going back to Yeshayahu chapter 57. Yeshayahu chapter 57. Yeshayahu chapter 57. Yeshayahu chapter 57. Verse 17. It says, because of the iniquity of his unjust gain, I was angry. I struck him, and I hid my face and was angry. That's why he hides his face from people. People say, why he hides his face? Y'all be making one person, all these people. He's like, that's why. Yeah, I'm gonna hide my face. Y'all love doing that. We talked about being united, same mind, same judgment. He's like, for some reason, y'all can't do this. But when somebody else comes and say, yeah, let's join together, y'all ready to go do it. And he's like, hold up. How is this even possible? And then he says, but he went on, and he says, I struck him, I hit my face, and I was angry. But he went on backsliding in his own way, in his own heart, because he ate the fruit of his own way. I'll allow you to eat the fruit of your own way. And it says, and I have seen his ways, his or her ways, but I will what? I have seen his ways, his or her ways, but I will what? Heal him. I will lead him and restore comfort to him in his mournings. He said, I'm going to restore comfort to him in his mournings. Why he told the man, he said, let the dead go bury dead and follow me. He just lost his father. He had mourners that were mourning for his father. Matter of fact, he had mourners mourning for his father, and he's like, I lost my father. He's like, man, don't worry about it, man. I'm going to help you out. Just come and follow me. I'm going to help you out. Verse 19 says, creating the fruit. It says, creating the fruit of the what? Of the lips. He said, I'm going to let you eat the fruit of your own. When we talk about sowing your own seed, people saying, why? Because you sowed those seeds in your own. He said, you did that. He said, the enemy sowed that. He said, you did that. He was like, what do you mean? You did that. You eat the fruit of your lips. The fruit of your lips. And these can come from your life from the time you've been born until now. But it says, shalom, shalom to the far and to the near, says Yahuwah. So when he was talking this in Yeshayahu, he was not only saying this for the people there, he was talking about all the people that were going to come on the ship with Yahushua Mashiach. They were on the ship with him. He said, shalom, shalom, not only to ones that hear, and also those that are far off. Why do you think it would? He said, why y'all doubting? It's me. He said, oh, you a little unmoving. He says, to the far and near, says Yahuwah, and I will heal him. But the wicked are like the tossing sea, for it cannot be quiet. The waves can't be calm. He's like, it can't be calm. Now we sit by the ocean, right? You sit by the ocean, and the next thing you know, the wind, it's like low tide. You get up certain times in the morning time, the waves ain't as rough. It's like a calm out on the waves in the morning time. And like the sun getting ready to rise. But the waves are really calm. And there's nothing, and it's like glass. He said, but the wicked are not like the tossing sea, or like the tossing sea, for it cannot be quiet. And its waters toss up mire and dirt. That's all it, dirt and mire, and filth. It says, there is no shalom, no peace. It says, my Elohim. Now, everybody other Elohim, there's a lot of Elohims of peace that be talking about peace. Shalom, all these things that they do. There's other peaceful gods out here. But my God, Elohim, my Elohim Yahuwah, right? There's no peace. It says, my Elohim. Right? There's the other ones that have it. And people gravitate to it. But he said, my Elohim says there's no peace to the wicked. He said, ain't no way they got some peace. No way. Right? So going to the book of, let's see. Right, this is the book of Luke 16:14. Luke 16:14. Luke or Aydah 16:14. It says the Pharisees, who were lovers of money, heard all these things. You think they ain't hearing it right now? He said, man, they lovers of money, gold and silver. But David said, man, I almost slipped. Though. You know, when the man, blind man, mother and father, they ain't want to get put out of the synagogue. They ain't want to get put out of the congregation when he got healed with a blind man. You know who they chose. They ain't want to be out there with Yahushua Mashiach. The man who got healed from the blind, who had his eyes healed from the blind man, he was like, man, I'm going to do it. He said, who are you to teach us? You've been born in sin. His parents chose not to get kicked out, to acknowledge the one who healed him. But he said right here, verse 14 says, the Pharisees, who were lovers of money, heard all these things, and they ridiculed him. They scoffed at him. And he said to them, you are those who justify yourselves before men. But Yahuwah knows your hearts. Man, I can see in the deepest parts of you. And I know you got fault within you. He said, people, they hang around these people, they found no fault. You see Yahushua, Yahushua right there. He found all the fault. He's like, look at these people. You yourself justify yourself before men. For what is exalted among men is an abomination in the sight of Yahuwah. He's like, y'all, because you know why he mad? Because they love all that money, unjust gain, and they love their gold and their silver more than they love Yahuwah. He said, David said, who am I, Shamash, but you? People said, why he sound the man if Yahuwah's on her? And he said, men is an abomination in the sight of Yahuwah. What? He's like, it's an abomination. And he said, the law, the Turah, and the Nabi'im were unto Yahuwah. Since then, the good news of the Malkuth of the kingdom is proclaimed, and everyone forces his way into it. But it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one dot of the Turah to become void. He's like, y'all gonna try to force your way in? Because y'all got all that stuff. Because you know, when people got unjust gain, what they do? They're gonna shed innocent blood to get what they want. So you're gonna try to force your way in? And guess what happened? And everyone who, get what it says, verse 18, everyone who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery. He's like, why would you do that? He's like, say what? And he says, and he who marries a divorced woman from her husband commits adultery. He's like, man, look at here. I'm sick of these broken homes. That's literally what he just said. He ain't say nothing else. What did he say? I'm sick of these dysfunctional households. Because you're supposed to heed the commandment of your father and your mother. Like he talks about. We just talked about, he said, my son and daughter, do not forget the commandment of your father and the teaching of your mother. But he said, look at here. All this divorce and stuff y'all doing, he's like, I'm tired of it. He said, but y'all love y'all money and y'all unjust gain, and guess what y'all do? You try to force your way into the kingdom, the Malkuth, but then guess what? I'm sick of these broken homes. I'm tired of it. And then guess what he goes? Verse 19. After he done said that one little bit, you justify yourself before men. Matter of fact, you got all that, y'all love that money too. Matter of fact, then guess what he does after that? Verse 19. There was a rich man who was clothed in purple. And then he started talking about something else. Well, you know, when you hang around people today, you know what they say. Oh yeah, I ain't gonna, you know, he'll leave me for them. You go be with them, and then guess what? You start raging against Yahuwah. You start talking about me. You start mouthing at me. He said, I ain't do nothing to you. Yahushua like, I ain't do nothing to none of y'all. Because you know Yahushua is innocent. We are the people who have done things against him. He's like, he is innocent. It says, there was a rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. Ain't that what people unjust gain do? He's like, man, they fat, and they got good bodies. It says, and at his gate was laid a poor man named Lazarus. And guess what? Covered with sores. And he desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, even the dogs came to lick his sores. Man, the dogs came to lick his sores. Man, look at that filthy person. He poor, he filthy on the ground. He hoping to get some crumbs from the table. And guess what it says? And the poor man died and was carried by the Malachim to Abraham's side. Abraham's side. He said you're going to see yourself in the kingdom where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you yourself kicked out. Why? Because they didn't divorce nobody. Matter of fact, they helped the poor. Matter of fact, they weren't running around getting no unjust gain. The fathers. And guess what it says? It says, what fell from the rich man's table? Moreover, even the dogs came and licked his sores. The poor man died and was carried to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried. And in Hades, being tormented, he lifted up his eyes and saw Abraham far off and Lazarus at his side. He said, man, look at here. It's like a great divide. It's like salt water. Like we talked about the great divide between the salt water and fresh water. He's like, he was sitting right next to Abraham in the kingdom. He's like, man, look at here. It says, and he called out, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. And sent Lazarus to dip the end of his finger in water and cool my tongue. For I am in anguish in this flame. For Abraham said, child, remember that you in your lifetime received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish, because you ain't helping. Because you ain't helping. Rich man, you got all that money. You got all that money, all them women, all them people massaging your neck. You got all these things that people doing. He said, you know what? You ain't even help the poor. You boasting and doing all that. He's like, he's mouthing that. When we talk about mouthing that, then they start boasting. When they start scoffing. And he said, he dipped in his finger. He says, and cool my tongue, for I am in anguish in the flame. Because you know you can't hide from the heat. He said, nobody can hide from the heat. From the sun. He said, it's not my word like fire. He said, I prepared a tent for the sun. Ain't nobody gonna hide from his heat. And he what he said, in your lifetime receive good things, and Lazarus in like manner bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. And besides all this, between us is a great chasm, has been fixed, in order that for those who would pass from here to you may not be able, and none may cross from there to us. And he said, then I beg you, Father, to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers. He's like, man, take me from the, man, look at this, man, I'm in the other world, the other realm, in the other worlds. He's like, man, he said, send him to his father's house. Then I beg you, Father, send to him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, so that I may warn them, lest they also should come to this place of torment. You feel like, I'm telling the story. I already told you the other stuff that y'all do, but I'm gonna show you some more stuff. And he says right here, but Abraham said, they have Mashah, the Nabi'im, let them hear them. You think that's it? Because Adam said, what did Adam say? He said, but this cause shall a man leave his mother and father, and woman should do the same, and cleave his wife, they shall be one. And he's giving a speaking ruah to give light to the eyes and hearing to the ears, both male and female. My son, do not forget the teaching of your father, the commandment of your father and teaching of your mother. They give light to the eyes and hearing to the ears. And guess what it said? But Abraham said, they have Mashah and the prophets, Nabi'im. Let them hear them. And he said, no, Father Abraham. But if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent. And they're going to shoot. Somebody comes from rise from the dead, they're going to repent. You sure? Yahushua rose again from the grave on the 3rd day. Has people repented? And he said to him, if they do not hear Mashah and Nabi'im, neither will they be convinced if someone rises from the dead. So who you talking about? He's talking about people that came out of they say, the ones who came out of Mizraim. He said, they ain't going to repent. The people that came out of Mizraim, they ain't going to repent. They don't hear Mashah and the Nabi'im and how and what's in there, they ain't going to repent. That's all they operate off of. You go tell them about some poor people in another realm and how I didn't give to the poor man, they ain't gonna repent for that. The only way the people that keep the law of Moses and they gonna have the prophets and them, that's the only way they gonna repent. But this other extra stuff that you talk about, they not gonna repent. They're not gonna repent for that. Verse 17, and he said to the disciples, let's skip from right there. But the only reason we're reading that, right, because of this, right? So we're gonna go. All right, so this is the book of the Testament. This pseudepigrapha. Pseudepigrapha, volume 1. Pseudepigrapha, volume 1. Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. Verse 18. Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, chapter 18, verse 1. Chapter 18, verse 1. Chapter 18, verse 1. It says, for in the book of Enoch, Hanuk, the righteous, I have read the evil things you will do in the last days. Guard yourselves, therefore, my children, against sexual promiscuity and love of money. Right? So you look at all these things, right? All these attributes that men are doing today. He said, guard yourself. He said, who am I in Shamash but you? There's nothing on earth I desire but you. He says, keep yourselves from the love of money. Right? Unjust gain. Unjust gain. Listen to Yehuda, your father. Because you know Yehuda is supposed to offer first. Matter of fact, he said, since Yehuda is going to go up first, but what he said right here, for these things distance you from the Turah of Yahuwah. What do you mean distance? He said, you're going to leave me for them. He said, my foot will slip in the morning time, but I got rebuked. And get what it says. Bind, he says, this distance you from the law, the Torah of Yahuwah, blind the direction of the soul, and teach arrogance. You know what he said? He said, man, these people are never in trouble. They arrogant, man. They are fat. Matter of fact, they lean, they got good bodies too. He said, look at them. He said, they teach arrogance. He said, but when we do it, we get in trouble. It says, they do not permit a man to show mercy to his neighbor. They deprive his soul of all goodness and oppress him with hardship and grief. Why do you think he did it to the poor man? Yeah, I had on my purple. Matter of fact, call you the oppressed. He said, whosoever put away a wife to marry another commits adultery. He said, in her place. Why would he say that? Because none of the people that you read that when Yahushua was talking to people in the scribe affairs, them people had multiple wives. They were putting away women left and right. They were sleeping around, doing all type of stuff. That's why he was saying it, because he was trying to stop them. Hey, you know what? Y'all got so many broken homes around here. Y'all done caused so much sin to go through this whole community and people. You don't even know what you're doing. Look at this world. Look at this community. How many people around here full of adultery? And he's like, all y'all adulterers. Matter of fact, y'all love money too. Y'all oppress the poor. He's like, look at y'all. Y'all do everything Yehuda said y'all gonna do. Your father Yehuda said this a long time ago. And I'm just reiterating it to you, to your face. That's literally what Yahushua did. I'm just reiterating it to your face in a different way. But it's the same thing. You get what he said? But David, right here, it says, blind souls and teachers arrogance. They do not permit a man to show mercy, a man or woman, to show mercy to his neighbor. They deprive his soul from all goodness and oppress him with hardship and grief. They take away sleep from him and utterly waste his flesh. Why? Because that's all they're thinking about. You're like, man, look at it. I gotta get this money. I gotta get this thing. I get this woman. I gotta oppress somebody. I gotta do this. I gotta get this man. I gotta destroy him. He said, man, waste away your flesh. He said, wasting disease. That's in my stomach. We talked about when in Pesach. He said, if you don't believe it, if you don't have the blood on the doorpost, on the gates, on your house, on your body, if you don't have it within and without, what happens? Then my stomach comes, and he said, the demon comes, he ain't gonna pass over you. It's a wasting disease, a consuming demon. Consumes the body. can eat a body and host, and they suck the life out of you. And it says right here, they impede the sacrifice of Yahuwah. They ain't gonna do no offering in the morning time. You know how they say in the morning time you're supposed to do your offering. In the morning time you get rebuked. David said, man, my foot well that slipped when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Ooh, I almost did it. But who am I to Shamash but you, Yahuwah? You hold me by the hand, you give me counsel. Man, if you ain't did that, see, those people, those scribes and the Pharisees should be praising you, who should be giving them that, giving them some type of rebuke. But nah, they ain't gonna do that. They're gonna try to, like you say, they're gonna rage against Yahuwah because he gets rebuked. Right? And it says right here, they deprive his soul from all goodness and oppress him with hardship and grief. They take away sleep from him and utterly waste his flesh. They impede the sacrifice of Yahuwah. He does not remember the blessings of Yahuwah, because he don't even remember that no more. He said, Shaly'shy said, whatsoever state I'm being content. People say, why he said that? Because this is Barak. I learned how to be hungry, full. I learned how to be exalted. I learned how to be abased. I can do all things through Yahushua Mashiach that strengthens me. I remember his Barak. He does not obey the prophet Nabi when he speaks. He's like, man, these people ain't gonna listen to me. They come to you as your people. They hear your word. Man, they ain't gonna do it. Nope. He said, how many people eat, man? They ain't gonna hear it. And guess what it says? And he is offended by the pious word. For two passions contrary to Yahuwah's commands enslaves him, so that he is unable to obey Yahuwah. He's like, why can't you obey him? People saying, why did he say that? This is Ukanan chapter 8. Ukanan chapter 8. Ukanan chapter 8, verse 40. Ukanan chapter 8, verse 39. Ukanan chapter 8, verse 39. And they answer him, Abraham is our father. You carrying Abraham's building? He said, how come these people they won't obey Yahuwah? How come they don't obey the bar, the word? He said, we have Abraham to our father. How many people have Abraham to their father? They can credit it all the way back. He said, we be Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. Isn't that what he said in Galatians? We be heirs according to, not the seeds of the many, but of one. You know what it said? That's what people say today. Millions and billions of people in the world. But it says right here, Yahushua said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would be doing the works Abraham did. That man was right at Abraham's bosom. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth, that I heard from Yahuwah. He said, you seek to kill me? Why did he say that? This is Yochanan 8:31, going back. So Yahushua said to the Yahudim who have believed him, believers that know him, they just believe him. If you abide in my debar, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You will be my scholars. But it says, they answer him, we are offsprings of Abraham, and we have never been enslaved to anyone. And we've been rich. You know how long we've had that money? We've been rich for a long time. Well, we ain't never been enslaved. We ain't never had to give ourselves over to slavery. But we had that cash flow since the beginning. Man, we had that money been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Man, even the kings of Persia had to write it in their scroll to tell them to build back Jerusalem. But we've been prospering since the day we came out of Mizraim. Who are you talking to? And he said, they answer him, we are the offspring of Abraham. We have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say we become free? Man, we've always been free. Like they say, we've been slaves, but we were slaves. You know, everybody wasn't no slaves. He said, why? He said, when you choose another king, besides Yahuwah himself, who am I, Shamash, but you? He said, man, you just submitted to the sun, moon, you submitted to the firmament. That's the only reason you say, we free. You know, they at ease. You know how they say? We at ease and never under bondage of any man. He said, man, the wicked are always at ease. There ain't nothing happening to them. But it said right here, Yahushua answered them, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. That's why he said that. He said, why do they want to kill him? Because he said, you practice sin. He said, you a slave to it. He said, said, we free. Boy, you see all this money we got? We cash flowing, we got all these things, we got all this stuff. But David said, man, Daud said, man, I'm on foot, will and not slip when I seen the prosperity of the wicked. He said, man, they'll all leave Yahuwah to go to them. He said, they almost did it though, but you rebuked me with your wisdom. You rebuked me in the morning time. Because the day dawned and the day star rises. How you say, just like the sun rises. And nobody can hide from the heat. You get what he said? The slave does not remain in the house forever. Because you know the slave got to do? Clean that, fix that, do that, get out. Right? And then what he says, the slave does not remain in the house forever, the son remains in the house forever, because he got a room in there. I got a room in the house. He said the son remains in the house. He said the servants just come in and they leave. He said, I got a room in the house. Get what he said? He said, so if the son sets you free, you'll be free indeed. He's like, if the son sets you free, because the son in the house, and the son say, hey, you're no longer a slave to sin anymore. I'll set you free. Get what it says? He says, I know that you are offspring of Abraham, yet you seek to kill me, because my word finds no place in you. He said, why can't they obey Yahuwah's truth? Why can't they obey the word? Because they have what? They have no mercy for their neighbor. They're proud of all goodness. They oppress. They what? They don't heed the word of the Nabi, or the Priest, the ruler right here, even Yahushua Mashiach. They don't show no mercy. And this is all in the book of Enoch. And Enoch even talked about these people. And Yehuda like, man, look, this is the Enoch. Here I am reiterating the words that were given to Hanuk to give to you. And so what do you think Yahushua doing right here? Reiterating the words that were given to Hanuk. Enoch. They said, man, we be Abraham seed. He said, before Abraham was, I know. But here we go. Get out here. And you will seek to kill me because my words find no place in you. I speak of what I have seen with my father, and you do what you have heard from your father. He said, that's your father. My father, your father. Because we got two different fathers. They answered him, Abraham is our father. Who invited Shamash but you? You. There's nobody on earth but you. Who was Yahushua's father? Who they claim their father? Abraham. He said, who have I and Shamash but you? He said, my father and Shamash higher than Abraham. But your father on the earth. And he said, and guess what Abraham did? In the grave. He said, let the dead go bury their dead and you follow me. Guess where he at? What you gonna do, conjure him up? And it says, if you were Abraham's children, you would be doing the works Abraham did, but you seek to kill me, a man who had told you the truth, because you said you ain't never been a slave, but you a slave to sin. That I have heard from Yahuwah. This is not what Abraham did. You are doing the works that your father did. They said to him, we were not born in sexual morality. We have one father, even Yahuwah. Yahushua said to them, if you were your father, if Yahuwah was your father, you would love me, for I came from Yahuwah, and I am here. I have not come on my own accord, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? Is it because you cannot bear to hear my debar? You are of your father Satan, and your will is to do your father's desires. Right, going back to the testament of the 12 patriarchs. Chapter 18, verse 6. It says, and he is defended by the pious word. For two passions contrary to Yahuwah's command enslaves him, so that he is unable to obey Yahuwah. They blind his soul, and he goes about in the day as though it were night. My children, love of money leads to idolatry. That's verse 19. He said, love of money, chapter 19, love of money leads to idolatry. Because once they are led astray by money, they designate as gods those who are not gods. It makes anyone who who has it out of his mind. You know, any person done lost his mind. It makes you go out of your mind. On the account of money, I utterly lost my children. So now he's telling you why. I lost my children. And had it not been for the penitence of my flesh, the humility of my soul, and the prayers of my father Yaakov, I would have met death childless. But Yahuwah Elohim, my fathers, who is compassionate and merciful, pardoned me because I acted in ignorance. He said, so in one say, I was one ignorant. He said, I acted in ignorance. He said, my father warned me, and guess what? I went on backsliding in my ways, and guess what he said? Like I kept doing it, and guess what he said? But I'm going to heal him. He said, I'm going to heal him. He said, I'm going to heal him or her. Why he say that? And then he says, the prince of air blinded me. He said, you are your father's Satan. He said, you're your father's Satan. You get what he says? And I was ignorant. He confessed that. Because he was a prince of all error and doubt. Satan. And he says, as a human being, as flesh, in my corrupt sins. Because you're a slave to sin. He said, I ain't never been in bondage to no man. Here's Yehuda, who wasn't in bondage to no man either. And guess what he said? I was a slave to sin. But for some reason, these people whom Yahushua's encountering can't admit they are slave to sin and they are their father's Satan. You know why? Because they're not on a deathbed like Yehuda right here. But he said right here, and he said, and I was ignorant as a human in the flesh. He says, as flesh. In my corrupt sins, until I learned of my own wickedness, after supposing myself to be invincible. Didn't Yehuda perceive himself to be invincible? Like he was just some mighty man? People saying, why? Because that's what some people say. I'm a super person. I know everything, right? But then he says, nah, I thought I was invincible. He said, I thought I was. I thought I was. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 6. Now these things took place as examples for us. People saying, why all that took place? For examples for us, that we may not desire evil as they did. That's the only reason he did. That's the only reason he's showing this stuff. Do not be idolaters as some of them, as it were written. Why? Because he said the love of money and silver and gold and all these leads to idolatry. That's where it's leading you. Do not be idolaters as some of them, as it were written. The people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. We must not indulge in sexual morality, as some of them did. And 23,000 fell in a single day. Huh? He said 23,000. And people say, why are you still alive? How in the world did you committed the act and you still alive? And 23,000 people died for sexual morality. And you still alive. And people will say, I ain't got nothing to rejoice about. I ain't got nothing to sing about. I ain't got nothing to say. Yahuwah like, man, look at here. You should have died. And get what he said? 23,000 in a single day. We must not put Mashiach to the test, as some of them did, and were destroyed by serpents. Nor grumble, as some of them did, as were destroyed by the destroyer, by Satan, because they mouth that. Because who he talking about? He's like, who you mouthing at? Because Yahushua, he said, before Abraham was, I am. So he said before Abraham was I am. He's also saying before Mashah was I am. Before Aharon was I am. Before Phinehas was I am. Before Nathaniel was I am. Before David was I am. Before Shalom was I am. Before even Yeshayahu was I am. And Yirmiyahu I was I am. Before Kaf. He's literally saying before everybody I was I am. And he says, and some of them as it were destroyed by the destroyer. And now these things happen to them as an example. Yehuda like, man, look at here. I was a slave to sin. Yehuda like, I told you the truth. You were a slave to sin. He said, if you were Abraham's children, you would love me. Why do you think Yehuda was saying what he was saying? If it was Yahusha sitting right there, man, he said, you would love me. And he said, and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now these things happened to them as an example, but they were written down for our instruction, on whom the end of the ages has come. Because Yehuda said, I thought I was invincible. He said, man, I thought, you know, when you get on your high horse, he said, man, Yehuda said, man, I mastered the chase by chasing the rope. I leaped over a wall. I defeated a whole army of Mizraim. I literally did I fought the Canaanites first. I did all that. Guess what he said? Therefore, let anyone thinks he stands, let anyone thinks he's invincible. Man, woman, or child, titled person, or anybody who ever claimed himself to be said, he said, let anyone thinks he's invincible. You think you're somebody. He said, take heed lest you fall. He said, you think you're invincible. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man, Adam, human beings. Elohim is faithful and will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide a way to escape. Man, he reproved me in the morning. David said, ooh, my foot almost well slipped. When I seen the prosperity of the wicked, he said, I almost did though. He said he left a way. How did he leave a way for David to get out of bush out? Because he was right there looking at him. He inquired, he said, who that woman is? He said, that's Uriah the Hittite's wife. But with the temptation, he left a way for him to escape, and he didn't choose it. Because he found out the truth about who she was. He didn't choose to escape. His spirit on the inside got rebuked. But he didn't choose it. He didn't choose the counsel. He knew what he was supposed to do. The same way when it came to Yehuda, he knew what to do. The same thing when it came to Sarah. When he came to Sarah in Abraham's house, and Sarah had to obey Abraham, he told him to give him some bread, to make some bread. She knew what she was supposed to do. But he said, guess what he said? You ain't do it. And he said, why she ain't do it? She did it though. But all these people don't do it. He said, you know what to do. He said, you won't heed on my counsel. He said, why won't you heed my counsel? He said, because he said, y'all love money. Y'all ain't got no mercy on your neighbor. Y'all running after idolatry. You get what he says? He said, Elohim is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted upon your ability, but with temptation he will also provide a way to escape, that you may be able to endure it. Because them demons and them spirits, they're going to come at your mind hard as possible. And it's going to be, man, these people, they trying to find a way in. This don't work, that don't work, this don't work. Well, I'm trying to just go about my daily life. Boom, this don't work. This happening, this happening, this happening. They trying to get in. That's the only reason they're doing it. They trying to find a way in because they can't get in. Looking for a weak spot. Therefore, my beloved, flee idolatry. What leads to that? I speak as to sensible people. Judge for yourselves what I say. That's all he said. He said, judge for yourselves what I say. He said, I have nothing to say after that, right? But this go right here to, so understand, my children, verse 20, chapter 20 of the same book. So understand, my children, that two spirits await an opportunity with humanity, the spirit of truth and the spirit of error.
In between is the conscience of the mind, which inclines as it will. He said, but Yahuwah is greater than your conscience. He said, but your conscience convinced you. He said, Yahuwah is greater than your conscience. The things of truth and the things of error are written in the affections of man, each one of whom Yahuwah knows. And there is no moment in which man's works can be concealed. He's like, you can't conceal it. He said, I can see it. I can see all your fault. He said, I can see it. He said, I can see it. Because they are written on the heart of Yahuwah in Yahuwah's sight. And the Ruach of truth testifies to all things and brings all accusations. He's like, the Ruach of truth brings all your accusations. He said, the Ruach of truth. And he says, he who has sinned is consumed in his heart and cannot raise his head to face the judge. He's like, what you mean? He said he can't even do it. Right, so this is the book of this is the book of Yochanan, chapter 16, verse 8. The book of Yochanan 16, verse 5. Yochanan 16 and 5. Yochanan 16 and 5. But now I am going to him who sent me, and none of you asked me, where are you going? He's like, man, I'm going to him who sent me. Because he said, I'm going to restore it back to bring it back how it was in the beginning, when it was just you and me. Not before the earth even was. And it says, you ain't even asking. But I have said these things to you. Sorrow has filled your heart because I have said these things to you. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is to your advantage that I go away. For if I do not go away, the helper will not come to help you. Just like he talked to Adam, he said, man, to Adam there was not fit a helper fit for him. Right, there's only one type of helper that's going to be fit for people who came out of the loins and the side of the 13th rib or the side of Yahushua Mashiach. There's only one type of helper that can help him. Because he said, who am I in Shamayim but you? I ain't got no other help. Who else going to do that for me? He says, but if I go, I will send him to you. And when he comes, he will convict the world concerning sin and righteousness and judgment concerning sin, because they do not believe in me. He said they don't believe in me. It says concerning righteousness, because I go to my Father, and you will see me no longer. Concerning judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. Who the ruler of the world? Satan. Satan all. Satan all versus Satan all. The cosmic forces, the people in the Rakia. He said Satan all, Satan versus Satan. Everything from above, ain't nothing from below. Everything comes from above. Everything. And he says, I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Ruach of truth comes, the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all truth. He gonna bring up all the accusations. For he will not speak of his own authority. It's gonna be Yahuwah like. It's not of my own authority. But whatever he hears, he will speak. And he will declare to you the things that are to come. He will kabod me. He ain't gonna seek a name for his own self. He gonna glorify me. And guess what he said? For he will take what is mine and declare it to you. He said, take what is there. It's mine. You get what he said? All that the Father has is mine. Therefore I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you. He said it twice. Verse 16, and in a little while you will see me no longer. And again, a little while, and you will see me. You will see me. Right? So this is So this is the book of let's go here. So this is the book of Luke, Oriah 18 and 9. 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 It says, he also told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous. But he said they're invincible. You know how Yehuda was? You know how Yehuda was? He said, man, I thought I was invincible. They think they're invincible. That's what they think. He said, you better take heed lest you fall. He said, they think they're invincible, who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and treated others with contempt. They treated, just like Yehuda said, the love of money. They got all this stuff, and they ain't showing no mercy to their neighbor. They ain't doing nothing. Get what he said. 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, prayed thus: Yahuwah, I thank you that I am not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. You know how people say? But I ain't never, boy, look at me, boy. Ooh, boy, I'm walking this thing out. Look at me, I'm the truth. I am on another level. He says, I fast twice a week. I give tithes all that I get. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even lift up his eyes to Shamash. Why? Because the spirit of truth accused him. Right? Because he said the spirit of truth testifies all things and brings all accusations. He says, he said, you go back to that, he says, I'm just reading it briefly, Testament of 12, H.R. 20 and 5, he says, he who has sinned is consumed in his heart and cannot raise his head to face the judge. So what you think you're doing when you're praying and you're confessing your sins? Like we spoke about this before, but most people don't even know this. Long time ago, right? He said when you praying and you on your knees and you confessing your sins, you pray, you literally in Shamash. You are literally in Shamash. You are literally at the face, at the ground of Yahuwah. You literally are there. Man, you done travel past the first Shamash, you done hit the throne, and guess what you're doing? You're going to get up there, you're going to start confessing, you're going to act like you ain't did nothing wrong. And get what it says. I tell you, get what it says. But the tax collector standing afar off would not even lift up his eyes to Shamash, but beat his breast, saying, Yahuwah, be merciful to me, a sinner. I'm a slave to sin. It says, I tell you, this man went down to his house fulfilled rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. You saying, so when you telling me when I get on my knees and when I pray and I pray and confess my sins and do all this stuff, you telling me that Yahuwah, if I go to him boasting about my life and how good I'm living, you telling me he gonna justify the person who say I'm a sinner more than me? Yeah. You think you somebody. You think you made it. He's like, nah, you ain't made it. He said, you ain't made it, right? So this is the book of going over to. So this is people we don't go through this. Right. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 18, verse 15. Matthew 18:15. It says, if your brother or sister sins, mother or father, if your brother or sister sins against you, go tell him his fault. How many people are going to do that? between you and him alone. If he listens to you, he or she, you have gained your brother or sister. But if he does not listen to you, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. Why do you think he said, when I send the Spirit of truth, he gonna take what from me and tell you and reveal it to you? He said it twice. He said, why would he do that? He said that twice. It says right here, if he refuses to listen, tell it to the body, the congregation, community. And if he refuses to listen even to the whole bunch of other people, let him be as a Gentile and a tax collector. He said, let him be like that person that is exalted, who goes and bow and confess and to pray. I'm glad I'm not like this person. I pay my tithes 3 times a week. I fast every single week. I give my bread to the poor, and I do all these things. I do everything, and I'm glad I'm not like this tax collector right here. Because guess what? Now they exalted in their mind. He said, truly I say to you, whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in Shamayim, and whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in the Shamayim. Again I say to you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by the Father in Shamayim. So 2 agree, it's going to happen. Guess what happened? For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I among them. So all you got to do is agree. He said, all you got to do is agree. He said, how that's even possible? He said, how is it even possible? Right, so this is the right. So this is the book of, people say a lot of things, but here we go. 1 Kings, all of 1 Kings 17 and 1. 1 Kings 17 and 1. Now all Yahoo the Tishbite of Tishbe in Gilead said to Ahal, as Yahuwah the Elohim of Yahshua lives, before whom I stand, there shall be neither dew nor rain these years, except by my debar. And he said, by his debar, because as rain and snow come down from Shamayim, so the debar be to go out of his mouth, right? But it said right here, and the word of Yahuwah came to him, depart from here and turn eastward and hide yourself by the brook Cherith, which is east of Yarden. You shall drink from the brook, as I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. Huh? I commanded the ravens. Who had that power? Who had the power to command the birds of the Shamayim? Adam. Adam did. He said, I commanded the birds to feed you there. He said, I gave Adam in my own image and own likeness, and gave him authority to fish and sea, the birds of the Shamayim. He said, I command the birds, hey birds, feed him. Feed him, the ravens. Matter of fact, amazingly, Shaluma, Shir HaSharim, he said what? He said, man, what make your beloved greater than my beloved? He said, man, his hair black like a raven. And amazingly, Yahushua said in Yuchanan 6:65, he said, I am the bread which came down from Shamayim. Matter of fact, I commanded that raven to feed you. He said, I sent him out just like a raven. And matter of fact, he said, I commanded ravens to feed you there. Look, here we go. And it says right here, let me go, It says verse 5 says, so he went and did according to the word of Yahuwah. And he went and lived by the brook Cherith, that is in east of Yarden, and the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning. He said the bread, they did exactly what Yahuwah said. He said the bread, and they brought it when? Oh, they brought it in the morning. Oh, he rebuked me every morning. Man, guess what? He up in the morning time. And my foot will not slip when I see the prosperity of the wicked. He said, who am I in Shamayim but you? Man, you command the ravens to feed me. Matter of fact, you command the ravens to feed me. What happened after that? He said, you rebuked me in the morning. Because I almost slipped. I seen the prosperity of Ahal and all them people. Well, I was there. Well, I almost, He said, who have I in Shamayim but you? I almost did it though. Amen. He killed that man, get his land right next to his house. Man, his wife. I almost seen it though. He said, the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat or food, akla, in the morning. In the evening, it brought him morning and evening. We got a morning and evening sacrifice. Matter of fact, we got a morning and evening sacrifice that we do on our shulchan, and we offer bread to Yahuwah. And you see Yahuwah sharing his bread with all Yahuwah. Yahuwah said, I'm the bread which came down from Shamash. He said, search the scriptures, and you think you have eternal life. It's talking about me. It's testifying about me. My hair black like a raven, and I feed people bread. He said, what makes your beloved greater than my beloved? Man, tell your beloved I'm sick. My teshuka, his desire is for him. It says, and the meat in the morning, and the bread and meat in the evening. And he drank from the brooks. And afterward, a while, the brook dried up, because there was no rain in the land. That thing dried up. He said, man, ain't no more rain, ain't no more water. But guess what happened? Then the word of Yahuwah came to him, arise. Whom am I in Shamayim but you? And go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow to feed, a woman, there to feed you. People saying, so if I have a widow to feed you, which means the woman was going to serve him. Let's see what happened. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow was there gathering sticks. She gathering sticks. And guess what happened? And he called to her and said, bring me a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And she was going to bring it, he called her and said, bring me a morsel of bread in your hand. Bring me a morsel of bread in your hand. Bring me a morsel of bread that's in your hand. And he said, well, give me some water out of the brook. And guess what happened? And she said, as Yahuwah, your Elohim lives, I have nothing baked, only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in the jug. And now I am gathering a couple of sticks that I may go in and prepare it for myself and my son, that he may eat it and die. It says, and Yahweh said to her, do not fear, go and do as you have said, but first make me a little cake of it and bring it to me, and afterwards make something for yourself and your son. Right? He said, how is all this even possible? Because he said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. What's in the midst of all of these interactions? Water and bread. Water and bread. He said, give me some of that bread in your hand. Matter of fact, give me some of the water. Right? But it said right here, but first make me a little cake of it and bring it to me, and afterwards make something for yourselves and your son. For thus says Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yasharal, the jar of flour shall not be spent, and the jug of oil shall not be empty, until the day Yahuwah sends rain upon the earth. He said, until the day Yahuwah sends rain upon the earth. And get what it says. And she went and did as all Yahweh said. She went and did not do as all Yahweh said. No, she went and did as all Yahweh said. And she and he and her household ate for many days. Because where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. They ate bread for many days. Because Yahushua said, I am the bread which come down from Shamayim. You know what? I commanded a widow to come feed. Matter of fact, I commanded some ravens to feed you too. And I got this woman feeding you too. And guess what happens? Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. But he said, oh, ye of little Amunah, why you doubt? Why are you doubting? Right? He said, why are you doubting? It says, in the days of Yahuwah, until the day Yahuwah sends rain on the earth. As rain and snow come down from Shamayim, so Yahuwah, the bar be that goes out of his mouth. Because you ain't getting no rain and snow, there's no food. And guess what it says? For the jar of flour was not spent, neither did the jug of oil become empty, according to the word of Yahuwah that he spoke to all Yahweh. And after this, and guess what this is? Right, verse 17 says, and after this, the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, became ill. After all that, it says, and his illness was severe that there was no breath left in him. And she said to Aydah, what have you against me? He's like, what you got against me? O man of Elohim, you God. And he said, you have come to me to bring my sin, huh? You have come to me to bring my sin to remembrance, to cause the death of my son. He said, what? You gonna bring it to my remembrance? Because he said, the Ruach of truth come upon you. He said, it's gonna bring all things to your remembrance. And he's going to lead you and guide you into all truth. But he said right here, you're going to bring it all to my remembrance and to cause the death of my son. And he said to her, give me your son. O ye of little Amunah, why do you doubt? He said, give me your son. Because she got a little Amunah. She's like, you come to bring my sins to remembrance and kill my son? So that's what you come to do? You coming to bring my sins to remembrance and to kill my only son? And he took him from her arms and carried him in the upper chamber where he lodged, and laid on his own bed, laid him on his own bed. And he cried to Yahuwah, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, you have brought calamity even upon the widow with whom I sojourn, by killing her son. Because he would bring her sins to remembrance by killing her son. Because her sins came to her remembrance. Why? Because he killed her son. She's like, you coming to recompense me? And guess what happened? Then he stretched out himself upon the child 3 times and cried to Yahuwah, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, let this child's life come to him again. And he cried out 3 times. He's like, let this child come to life again. When Yahushua got up from the grave? 3rd day. He said, oh, ye of little Amunah, why you doubt? I'm literally giving you the bread of life. He said, I'm the bread which came down from Shamash. He said, her son, her, and Aydah ate bread until Yahuwah sent rain on the earth. I am the bread which come down from Shamash. He said, what 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, they're in my midst. You come to bring my sins to remembrance now? It's people, you in the midst of us, Yahuwah, and you killed my son? And then Aydah prayed to Yahuwah, and guess what he said? And Yahuwah listened to the voice of Aydah, and the life of the child came into him again after he cried 3 times. Because for 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. And why he cried out 3 times? Because Yahushua rose on the 3rd day. Because Yahushua brought all the sins to remembrance of all the people. And guess what he did? Yahuwah killed his son. He killed his son. And he redeemed, and guess what he did? And he brought the son back to life. And guess what it said? And Yahuwah listened to the voice of Yahu, and the life of the child came into him again. And he revived. And Aydah took the child and brought him down to the upper chamber into the house and delivered him to his mother. And guess what happened? And Aydah said, see, your son lives. Yahushua is alive. Your son lives. Your son lives. The son is alive. He has prevailed. And it says, and the woman said to Aydah, now I know. I know now. Believeth, no. Believeth, I know now. He said, I know that you are a man of Elohim. And that the word of Yahuwah is in your mouth and is truth. Because you know that when the Ruach of truth come upon you, he's going to lead you and guide you into all truth. And he's going to show you all things to come. He said, man, it's better that I go. And I will send him to you. He said, I'm going to send him to you. And guess what it says? Right? He said, I'm going to send it to you. Right? So this is the book of Psalms. I think it's 44. We almost finished. This is Psalms 44. Psalms 44 and 6. Psalms 44, 44 and 6. Psalms 44 and 6. It says, for not in my bow do I trust, nor can my sword save me. Because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahuwah. He said, they can't save me. But you have saved us from our foes and have put to shame those who hate us. He says, in Yahuwah Elohim we have boasted continually, and we will give thanks to your name forever. But you have rejected us and disgraced us, and you have not gone out with our armies. You have made us turn back from the foe, and those who hate us have gotten spoiled. You have made us like sheep for the slaughter. You have scattered us among the Goyim. You have sold your people for a trifle, demanding not high price for them. For you made us the taunt of our neighbors, and derisions and scorn to those around us. You have made us a byword among the nations, and a laughingstock among the people. All day long my disgrace is before me, and shame has covered my face. At the sound of the taunter and the reviler, at the sight of the enemy and the avenger. All this has come upon us, though we have not forgotten you. We ain't forget you. And we have not been false to your covenant. Guess what it says? Our hearts has turned back, have not turned back. Our hearts has not turned back, nor have our steps departed from your way. Yet you have broken us in the place of jackals, and covered us in the shadow of death. If we had forgotten the name of our Elohim Yahuwah, or spread out our hands to a foreign god, would not Elohim discover this? For he knows the secrets of your heart. He said, you come to bring my sins back to my remembrance, and Yahuwah killed her son. But what happened after that? Yahoo said, give me your son. And he took him to the upper chamber. And people were like, why did Yahuwah take the son when Yahuwah came to take the son? And they brought him, and they said he ended up getting exalted on the cross. He brought him to the upper chamber, just like Asenath was in the tower. He said he brought him to the upper chamber because you got to be high. And he said, my servant shall do wisely, he shall be exalted and very high. He will ride on the wings of the wind. And he said what? Yahuwah, you gave all this con to us, and you come to bring calamity on this woman's house. Restore her son back to life. And he said it 3 times. He cried out 3 times. And the woman's son revived after 3 times. But it says right here, he said, we spread our hands to any foreign god, would you not discover this? For he knows the secrets of the heart. Yet, for your sake, we are killed all the day long, and we are regarded as sheep to the slaughter. Right? He said, we are regarded as sheep to the slaughter. Right? We are regarded as sheep to the slaughter. So this is the book of, I almost want to go there, but this is the book of, all right, so this is the Nazarenes, the truth of the Nazarenes. The truth of the Nazarenes. Truth of the Nazarenes. This is the Gospel of the Nazarenes, they say. This is chapter Truth of the Nazarenes, chapter 17. Truth of the Gospel of the Nazarene, chapter 17, verse 1. And Yahushua went up into the mountain to pray. And when he had called to him his 12 disciples, he taught them of the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and diseases. He said, how are you going to do that? He told him, he said, wicked like a troubled sea, but I seen his way. Matter of fact, he went on in his way. Matter of fact, he said, I'm going to heal him and her. I'm going to heal him. You know what it says? Heal all manner of sickness and disease. Now the name of the 12 of Shaly'shy are those who stood for the 12 tribes of Yasharah. For the 12 tribes of Yasharah. Kaf called Cephas for the tribe of Reuben. James or Yaakov for the tribe of Naphtali. Thomas called Didymus for the tribe of Zabulon. Mattheyahu called Louis for the tribe of Gad. Yehuchanan for the tribe of Ephraim. Simeon for the tribe of Issachar. Andrew for the tribe of Manasseh. Nathaniel for the tribe of Simeon. Thaddeus for the tribe of Yehuda. Yaakov for the tribe of Benjamin. And Jude or Judah for the tribe of Dan. Philip for the tribe of Asher. And Judas Iscariot, a Levite, who betrayed him, was also among them, but he was none of them. And Matthias Barnabas, who were also present with them. Then he called in the like manner 12 others to be Nabim, prophets, Nabiim, men of light, to be with the Shaly'shy and to show them the hidden things of Yahuwah. And their names were, we don't get into that, but at the same time, all these are important. He said, why are all these important? Right, same book, same book, same book, same book. This is it. Yeah, so this is Nazarene, Gospel of Nazarene, chapter 58, verse 1. And Yahushua said to his disciples and to the multitude around them, Who is a son or a daughter of the Most High Yahuwah? Even the company of them who turn from all evil and do righteousness, love, have mercy, and walk reverently with their Creator. These are the sons and daughters who come up out of Mizraim. He said, because in Mizraim, he said, these are the people who came out of Mizraim, to whom it is given that they should be called the sons and daughters of Yahuwah, the Most High. He said, these are the sons and daughters of the Most High. But you know, today, they ain't the sons and daughters of the Most High, you know. They want some people different. And it says, and they are gathered from all tribes. Hold up. They are gathered from all tribes and nations and peoples and tongues. Sound familiar? He said, I saw a great throne. I saw a whole bunch of people. Of peoples, nations, tongues. In all languages. You get what it says? And it says, and they come from the east and the west and the north and the south, and they dwell on Mount Sion. And they eat what? And they eat bread. Wasn't that all Yahoo? What they doing? That woman showed him a lot of kindness and love. Matter of fact, he even showed love to her son. They were kind, tender-hearted, kind to one another. Like even Shaul said, be tender-hearted, kind to one another. He said, we're going to eat bread here, me, you, and your son. Matter of fact, he said, well, 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, they're around the midst. He said, we're going to eat bread together, and we're going to do it until you send rain, too. So we're going to wait until Yahuwah send rain. And it says, and guess what it says? Northward and southward, and dwell on Mount Sion, and they eat bread, and they drink of the fruit of the vine at the table of Yahuwah. And they see the Most High face to face. And they drew near to him, all the tax collectors, tax gatherers, and sinners, to hear him. And the Pharisees and the scribes murmured, saying, this man receives sinners and eats with them. And he spoke again this parable to them, saying, What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he have lost one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness, because you're supposed to be master shepherds, and go after that which is lost until he finds it? He says, and when he has found it, he placed it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And when he arrives at home, he gathers together his friends and neighbors, saying unto him, Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. And I say to you, that likewise shall there be joy on high over one sinner that repents, more than over 99 just persons with no repentance. Need no repentance. Or he said, I need no repentance. Right, so this is. He said no repentance. Right, so this is last couple things. This is book of Joel, Yahuwah. Joel. Actually, let's go to. All right, so this is ODE. Actually, yeah. Yeah, this is ODE, Shaloma. Remember ODE, Shaloma. Odes of Solomon. Odes of Solomon. ODE, Shaloma. Yeah, Odes of Solomon. ODE Shaloma, chapter 38. Odes of Solomon, chapter 38, verse 1. Odes of Solomon, chapter 38, verse 1. And I went up into the light of truth, as into a chariot. Because he said, when the Ruach of truth comes upon you, he's going to lead you and guide you in all truth. He's going to bring up all your accusations. Everything. And it said right here, and the truth led me and caused me to come, and caused me to pass over chasms and gulfs. Amazingly, when the rich man was in the actual other realm, it was a great chasm in the middle of them, between Abraham and the poor man and the rich man with the purple on him. And get what he says. And saved me from the cliffs and valleys. David said, I've well slipped. My foot has well slipped. I almost slipped when I seen the prosperity of the wicked. He said, I almost did. It saved me from the cliffs and the rocks. He said, I almost did. And guess what it says? And became for me a haven of salvation. He said, I almost did it. It says, and set me on the place of immortal life. Because every morning he rebuked me. He take me by the hand and he what? Give me counsel. He said, whom have I in Shamash but you? He said, but make sure y'all don't lift up your eyes to any of these idols. Because you know what leads to idolatry, right? This is, and he went with me and caused me to rest and did not allow me to err. He said he wouldn't allow him to err. He said the wicked like the troubled sea. They're always erring. But we should say shalom. Right? And it says, because he was and is the truth. Yahushua said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man can come to Yahuwah except through me. People saying, why are there 13 days before the 14th day come in? At even. Why were Yahushua slain after the 13th day? In between the suns. Before the 14th day at even. Why? Because no man can come to Yahuwah except through him. He said, why you count 49 days, and on the 49th day you get to the 50th day, or 49th day at even you get to the 50th day? Why he tell you that? Because no man can come to Yahuwah except through him. Because it equals to 13. He said, why he tell you to do all these things? Because he said, no man can come to the Father except through me. you're not going to get through. You got to come through me. He said, you got to acknowledge me. The one who made all things, right? And it said right here, it did not err, because he was and is the truth. And there was no danger for me, because I constantly walked with him. He said, I constantly did that. When the man came, when all y'all who came in the house, he said, woman, give me some of your bread. He's like, she went to get the bread. He's like, I ain't got nothing for me and my son gonna die. He's like, just give me some bread. Give me some water first, and you'll see all your stuff, and it'll last. And guess what? It lasted, and guess what happened? Even her son died, and he revived and gave her life. So you said, but 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, they're among the midst. He said, I am the bread which came down from Shamash. He said, if you believe in me, believe also in the bar. And then even though you don't believe me, he said, believe the words. But it says right here, it says, and there was no danger for me, because I constantly walked with him, and I did not err in anything, because I obeyed him. Why do you think Yahuwah even healed her son? Because she obeyed Yahuwah. Because Yahuwah said, I have a woman going to feed you, give you bread. And she obeyed Yahuwah. After when he started to speak, and she's like, sure, she obeyed Yahuwah, because the obedience of the woman was to the man. And therefore, Yahuwah, when her son died, Yahuwah healed her son. Not even knowing it was to testify of Yahushua Mashiach. Not even knowing it was about him. But she just obeyed the bar, because that's all Yahushua did. And it was testifying about him, because he's all obedience. That's what Yahushua is. I'm an obedient. I just do what my father and mother say. In the highest Shamayim. But it said right here, and because I obeyed him, for error fled from him, and never met him. But truth was proceeding on the upright way. Why do you think Yahushua said, the son of Adam be lifted up? I'm going to draw people to myself. And whatever I did not understand, and whatever I did not understand, he declared it to me. Because whatsoever I give, the Spirit of truth going to come from me. He's going to declare it to you. It's expedient that I go. You get what it says? All the drugs of error and pains of death, which are considered sweetness, and the corrupting of the corrupter, I saw when the bride who was corrupting was adorned, and the bridegroom who corrupts and is corrupted. And I asked the truth, what are these? And he said to me, this is the deceiver and the error. He's like, what is going on? Right? And then verse 11 says, and they imitate the beloved and his bride. That's what they do. He said, my foot will not slip when I see the prosperity of the wicked. They imitate the true bride and the actual beloved. They imitate him, but they're not actually him. He said, these are the bride and the groom of error. How you say? The beloved and the bride of error. They imitate him. And guess what happened? And they cause the world to err and corrupt it. Who are these people? Who are these people causing people to err? That's mimicking the bride of Mashiach and the beloved. Who are these people? It's not really that hard to see. It's not hard. It's not hard to see. And guess what it says? And they imitate the beloved and his bride, and they cause the world to err and corrupt. And they invite many to the wedding feast. They do. And allow them to drink the wine of their intoxication. Because they drunk. They are drunk. And guess what it says? So they cause them to vomit up their wisdom and their knowledge and make them senseless. They senseless. They don't even know what they're doing. And guess what they're doing? And guess what it says? And they abandon them. So they stumble about like mad, like mad and corrupted men. Because love of money make men go out of their minds. Man, these people lost their mind. This last verse on this, since there is no understanding in them, neither do they seek it. They don't even seek out the knowledge. They ain't got no understanding in them. They think they know, but they don't. He said they don't know. They don't even seek it out. Seek ye out the book of Yahuwah and read. Matter of fact, he says, great are the works of Yahuwah, studied by those who will delight in them. How you say, seek with prayer. Read, study, meditate. He said, don't even do it. Right? So this is the song, they call it the Song of God. Right? This is the song, they call it the Song of God, but this is the beginnings, right? This is the beginnings. So this is the Song of God, the Song of God, right? They call it chapter 26. Chapter 26. Chapter 26. Chapter 26. Let's see, remember verse. Let's see if we find it. Chapter 26, verse 57. Actually, give me 26 verse 47. And it says, and Nimrod gave great riches of frankincense and myrrh and wealth, and the wealth of Abraham was made great among the sons of men. Now when all these things were brought before Abraham, the king spoke unto him, saying, my son, I pray that you will accept these offerings which I have given you this day. For I know that Elohim of Abraham is truly the Elohim of all others. Therefore I shall cause to be built in the city of Babel a house in honor wherein your Elohim shall abide. And all the people of the city shall be made to remember him and worship him also. Isn't that what they do today? Isn't that what they do today? They do that today. So they do the same thing. They mimic the bride. They mimic the bride and the beloved. They do it. And guess what he said? But Abraham answered Nimrod, king of Babel, rebellion, king of air, saying, does Yahuwah of Shamayim and earth desire a house built by the hands of men? Do he desire that? Yahuwah dwelleth not in buildings made with hands, as men would think. He said, know ye not that your body is the temple of Yahuwah? Yahuwah don't want them to do it. He's like, shall Elohim be made to find honor in the house of idolatry? But you know what leads to idolatry? The love of money. Why do you think he had printed in all the riches to Abraham? Abraham like, I don't need all you gonna print all this money to me? He like, Yahuwah don't want no idolatry? That's what love of money leads to. Why do you think Abraham ain't quick to take it? Boy, yeah, I need that money. Because he's going to lead to idolatry. He knew. They have went out of their minds. What do you think happened to these people in times past? And it says, behold, great king, how the Elohim of all men showed forth to you an abundance of kind. Will you now make of him an image of stone to be worshipped by foolish men? Will you now make him to sit continually before the king as though he were but a brick? Consider, O king, how the Elohim who created all Shamayims and earth is great and mighty. For the heavens declare the kabod of Yahuwah. The heavens proclaim aloud the wonders of his ways. Day upon day the earth speaks. Night after night, the song of his handiwork is heard upon the land. Because even Job said, man, Yahuwah gives his songs in the night. We talk about revealing understanding and knowledge in the night, but here we go. It says, consider how all creation is made to bring forth to the children of men the knowledge of Yahuwah. Where, O king, shall we flee from your word, from the words of his glory? He said, where am I going to go? David said, where am I going to hide from your presence? If I go into Shamayim, you there? If I build my bed in Sheol, if I go to the bottom of the sea, you there? Where shall I go? You know where I can hide from your ruin? I can't hide from the heat. He said, where are we going to hide from his glory? How shall we stop up the ear that we should no longer hear the voice of Yahuwah calling after us? For throughout all the days of our life is he made to call after us as children who have gone astray. He said, I saw Yashua on the hill with sheep that have no shepherd. He said, we all like sheep that have gone astray. Last thing, he said, behold the heavens above wherein Elohim has established a tabernacle. What? Behold the heavens above where Yahuwah has established a tabernacle for the sun. Oh, sound familiar? He prepared a tent for the sun. Yahuwah dwelleth not in hands, buildings made with hands. He said, I desire to build a tabernacle, the tent. I prepare for the sun. That within the pavilion of his kabod, the sun might rise forth as a bridegroom greatly rejoicing, like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. Just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. Right? And it says right here, therefore, O king, be wise in the days of your sojourn upon the earth, and waste not your days in foolish imaginations. He said, that's foolish. He said, that's foolish imaginations, to even think like that. Because you know, the imagination of man's heart was only raw continually. They're going to worship idolatry. He said, yeah, that money, then you're going to lead you to that, and that, you're going to be worshiping idols. But he said right here, for Yahuwah alone understands the way of the wise. He knows where wisdom is made to dwell. By his great knowing is he made to see all the ends of the earth. Everything under Shamayim does he perceive deeply. He said, shall he not? He don't know that? He knows. When he established the movings of the wind and measured out the waters of the deep, when he decreed that the earth should be nourished by the rains, all y'all who say, man, you know what? We're going to eat bread, me, you, your son, because you know what, 2 or 3 are gathered, man, we're going to eat bread. Matter of fact, he already had the ravens feed me with bread and water. Matter of fact, I'm going to sit here, me and you and your son, we're going to eat bread together, and we're going to do it till the rain comes. We're going to do it till the rain comes. And it says, and when he set forth the pathway of the mighty storm, then he looked at wisdom of his glory and confirmed before the heavenly host that all people should be made partakers, if it be so that they should seek after her. Because me said, people understand, they ain't got no understanding, they don't even seek after her. We just read it. They don't even seek. They don't even go after it. These are people who got no understanding, they don't even seek after it. It says that they should seek after him. For behold, Yahuwah has declared to me that to worship the Elohim of Shamayim in earth, and him only serve, that is wisdom, and to shun the evil way is understanding. But where, O king, shall wisdom be found? In the house of Nimrod, wherein has understanding been made to dwell? For for you have comprehended its worth. For you have not comprehended its worth, neither have you understood its way. For from the house of ignorance is wisdom made to flee. He's like, man, you ignorant. Because you would say, man, because I did it in ignorance. And the wisdom left his mom. He said, but my children, don't do these things. And amazingly, you see Abraham, you see Yehuda looking at, man, I didn't even do what Abraham did. Had I done it, I would have never been in that situation. But it said right here, for behold, Yahuwah has declared to me that the worship of the Elohim of Shamayim is evil is understanding. But it said, verse 64, but where, O king, shall wisdom be found? In the house of Nimrud, wherein has understanding made his well? For you have not comprehended its work, neither have you understood its way. For from the house of ignorance is wisdom made to flee. Among the disobedient will understanding not abide. Seeing that Elohim had restored to Babel the queen thereof, why do you stand afar off, when Yahuwah has come near unto you to bless? Because Abraham prayed just all Yahweh did. And he restored his wife to life, because they threw him in prison. And what happened after that? Nimrod didn't say, I know for sure that you are a man of Elohim, like the woman did with all Yahweh. But it said right here, we almost finished. And it says, why stand ye afar when Elohim has come near to bless you? Why will you fashion for him a graven image to be worshipped in the midst of iniquity? He's like, what you gonna do that for? Now when Nimrod heard the words of Abraham, let's see what he did. He feared greatly lest Yahuwah of Abraham stretch forth his hand of indignation and cause that the king should be brought to shame before the people. Because you know how to say it? He said, you are there who fear the eyes of men. He said, don't you know Yahuwah is 10,000 times brighter than the sun? Beholding all the works of men? He said he didn't want to be brought to shame in front of all the people. So he commanded Abraham should depart from the city of Babel and all the regions round about. Because he ain't want to be put to shame in front of all those people. Because he spoke to him the truth. So he tried to get him kicked out of the whole city. Because he told him something that was going to make him look foolish inside of all those people. And he knew, Nimrod knew it was the truth. He knew. And when Abraham took, and he says, so he commanded Abraham that he should depart from the city of Babel and all the regions round about. Right? So we look at all that. Like we look at all that, and now we, and you start to see, he said, man, he made a tabernacle for the sun. And people say, well, why he say that? Right? Everything that one reads, right, it is a lot more. Right? There's a lot more. Right? So this is Aydah Shalom. This is the last verse. This is the last little thing. This is Aydah Shalom. Ode to Solomon, chapter 15. Ode to Solomon, Shalom, chapter 15, verse 1. As the sun is the joy to them who seek it at daybreak, so Yahuwah, so is my joy, Yahuwah. Right? Because look at how you look at the sun. He's operating a tip for the sun. Because he is my son. And his rays has touched me. Right? So he said his rays has touched me. And his light has diminished all darkness from my face. He's like, it diminished all the darkness in my face. Because it's in my face. But then when he shines light, all the demons leave your face. Because now you've been enlightened. He said, all the demons leave your face. Eyes I have possessed in him and have seen his Chdash day. He just like the seventh day. He said, we seen his Chdash day. And he said, it's all about his name. Right? He said, I can see this Chdash day. Ears I have acquired and I have heard his truth. Just Nimrod heard his truth. The woman in the house heard all Yahweh's truth. The people heard Yahusha's truth. Even Yehuda's children heard his truth. They heard his truth. And guess what happened? The thought of knowledge I have acquired. Da'ah. I acquired it and have lived fully through him. He said we ain't never left, we ain't forgetting none of your precepts. Man, we are a laughing stock to the world. They laugh, we are power and a byword to the world. And people saying, why Yahusha was a laughing stock to all the people when he went to go heal the woman in the room, the little girl in the room. He said, Kum Baz. He told the daughter to arise. He said, he was laughing to scorn. She not dead, she's sleeping. They laughing to scorn. He said, you're a laughing stock. But you know why he made us a laughing stock to all the nations and the people? Because he wanted people to, he wanted us to see our shame. And he cast us out of Jerusalem. But you see what Nimrod did? He cast Abraham out because he didn't want nobody to see his shame. He wanted the people to look at him and not in shame. Right. So you look at all that, and you look at all that truth, right? But this last verse is, and I abandoned the way of error. He said they always err who worship these idols. He said, I abandoned the way of error. And guess what he said? I abandoned the way of error. And he says, and went toward him, this is verse 6, and went toward him and received salvation from him generously. And according to his generosity, he gave to me. And according to his majestic beauty, he made me. And I have put on incorruption through his name. Not through your own name. He said through his name. And stripped out corruption by his coming. Death has been destroyed before my face, and Sheol has been vanquished by my debar. Right? And just like everything we always say, look at all this truth, and we say, look at Yahushua Mashiach as the true light. Look at him as the breath of Shamash, but we also look at his counsel, his reproof, and taking us by the hand, and showing us his light and his life. Because by showing us his light and his life, it allows us to walk and not allow our feet to slip. And not allow our mind to get exhausted. Knowing that all these things that happen, and there's a lot more, but at the same time, when we look at our truth, and we look at his knowledge, and say on the Shabbat, then we understand why he gave it to us. So as to cease from all our labors, and to stop our feet from slipping, and to stop us from going after other gods and idols, and everything that people have around to try to entice people to do. Because Satan is looking for somebody to destroy. But Yahushua making sure, and Yahuwah making sure it's not us. Right? For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.